morning, investors. In front of you is Peter, Sharon, Alfred, Grace, and myself, Kennedy. We are pleased to present to you our valuation report on KCB. And going by our in-depth analysis, we recommend a buy with a target price of 39 shillings and 15 cents. This represents a 58% upside. Our buy recommendation is based on KCB's strong regional presence and balance sheet, its strategic partnerships with companies such as Safaricom for products such as the KCB M-Pesa, its sustainable profitability with an average growth rate of 13% over the last 4 years in profit after tax, and KCB being an attractive stock in the current bear market. KCB is the largest lender in East Africa with 570 billion in total assets. This represents 15% of the total assets in the banking industry. Corporate banking and retail banking are KCB's major business segments, contributing 23 and 44% in revenue. KCB enjoys a clientele of 10.3 million customers who are serviced by 260 branches and 162 ATMs, mobile, internet, and agency banking. With 77% non-branch transactions, KCB's mobile banking platform is a key driver for its futuristic growth, with 53% of all transactions now being done via mobile banking. Over the last 1 year, KCB mobile banking revenues have grown by 83%, with a total of 90% and 90% of total loans are now being processed via mobile. KCB M-Pesa loans particularly have grown 50% over the last 1 year, from 6.6 billion to 9.9 billion. And in line with the management outlook to achieve 20 million customers by the end of 2017, we believe that KCB M-Pesa will be a key driver to this, with a 65% growth over the last 1 year to 7.8 million customers, and riding on KCB's strategic partnership with Safaricom for its 22 million customers. So, how does KCB compare in the industry?
Our industry overview focused on 3 key aspects, that is revenue contribution, GDP growth, and inflation. In terms of revenue contribution, Kenya is the highest contributor to KCB at 86%, while Tanzania is leading in terms of GDP growth at 7.2%, while Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda have an average of 6%. This one provides a good economic ground for KCB to thrive in the East African market, supporting our buy recommendation. South Sudan, on the other hand, is an outlier because it has a negative GDP of 13% and a hyperinflation of 476% as at the end of December 2016. This is attributed to the political instability that the country has been facing that led to the devaluation of the South Sudan currency by 84%, affecting the country's economic performance. However, going forward, with the intervention of international communities, we hope that the country will be able to regain its political stability that can hence improve the quality of business in the country. In analysis of the competitive positioning of KCB, as a team, we decided to use the Porter's 5 Forces model, and the competitive rivalry within the industry comes out to be significant due to the fact that Kenya, as a population of 44 million, is served by 40 banks, which is considered to be high in comparison to economies such as Nigeria or South Africa. KCB has positioned itself above competition by advancing its technology strategy and leveraging on its technology, as they recently informed us that they are able to upgrade their core banking system. In terms of the SWOT analysis, the key strength for KCB is a strong brand, supported by a net promoter score of 51%. The weakness, of course, is the concentration risk, as we've seen that most of the revenue is coming from Kenya. The threat is the uncertain regulatory changes, especially due to the capping of the interest rates and some of the proposed legislation, such as the control of government deposits. And a huge opportunity exists for KCB to still tap in the large unbanked population in the East African market to stamp its footprint, hence still supporting our buy recommendation. On to the financial analysis.
We used revenue and profitability, asset quality, financial strength, and peer comparisons as the metrics of KCB financial performance. Due to the interest rate capping, we estimate that KCB's net interest margin will be at its lowest between the years 2016 and 2017. However, going forward, we forecast a steady increase in KCB's net interest margin. Non-funded income has been growing, with the exception of the year 2016, where we estimated a marginal decline. This is attributable to the 84% devaluation of currency in South Sudan. Going forward, we forecast a 5% average growth rate for the non-funded income. Due to alternative banking channels, KCB's operational efficiency has improved. This can be witnessed by a decline in cost-to-income ratio. We forecast a cost-to-income ratio of 46% by the year 2020. The core capital to total risk-weighted assets and liquidity ratio of KCB are above both the statutory minimum and the industry average. This provides a ready pool of funds by which KCB can use to grow its loan book and probably pay more dividends to its shareholders. KCB's management has set a target of 6% for the non-performing loan ratios. The company is yet to achieve this. However, its asset quality has improved, and this can be seen by a decline. And this can be seen by a declining ratio from the half-year results of 2016 going forward. In comparison to other banks in Africa, KCB is performing above average with a net income margin of 31% and a return on assets of 3.3% as compared to the industry's 29% and 3.2% respectively. How did we value KCB?
We use discounted cash flows and relative valuation approaches to value the bank and incorporated a 2 shillings per share expected dividends to arrive at a target price of 39.15 shillings per share. To dive deeper into discounted cash flows, we forecasted the key value drivers of the firm over the next 4 years based on the foregoing analysis, and estimated 11.1 billion free cash flows in 2017, gradually rising to 17.3 billion in 2020. Discounting these as the company's cost of capital, we arrived at 176 billion enterprise value and adjusted out debt to remain with 140 billion Kenya shillings as the equity value. This means 45.82 shillings per share in fair value. More about the assumptions. Our cost of capital of 17% was a weighted average between the cost of equity at 19.4% and the pre-tax cost of debt at 10%, and our risk-free rate assumption was guided by the current yield on a 5-year bond. A 3.7% growth rate, terminal growth rate assumption was also based on a weighted average between population and GDP growth rates. For the relative valuation, we utilized book and earnings multiples and took the averages which we applied on KCB's recent book value per share and EPS to determine a price of 31.4 shillings per share. And also notable is that the price to earnings average of the market has been on a decline over the last 2 years, currently approaching a 5-year low, probably implying quite attractive pricings in the current market situation. Moving on to a sensitivity analysis of the target price, we noted that at a cost of capital of 21% and a lower growth rate of 0.7%, the target price would be 34.6 shillings per share, implying a 40% upside. We wrapped up this section by doing a Monte Carlo simulation, and out of 20,000 runs, we noted that 51% of the observations would yield a return greater than the company's cost of equity, hence within the buy recommendation region. So let's look at the risks facing the business.
We utilized an impact probability matrix and the Camel's model to analyze the risks. The risks that stood out include high NPLs, inflation, and technological change. Some of the factors contributing to inflation include the prevailing drought, forthcoming general elections, and rising oil prices. Inflation contributes to high NPL, and KCB mitigates against this through scenario analysis, exposure limits, and rigorous probing of loans disbursed through mobile platforms. With regards to technological changes, KCB FinTech is set to begin operations in June 2017 and is expected to take the financial sector by storm. It intends to start the operations and complete it by the end of 2017, increasing the number of customers on the mobile platform to 20 million, as opposed to 7.8 million, which is the current number. Next, we look at the Camel's rating, and it is important to note that the system is based on a 5-point scale, with 1 being the best rating and 5 being the worst. You'll notice that KCB performs particularly well in terms of capital adequacy and management quality. However, high NPLs have affected asset quality, thus the rating of 3. Overall, KCB has a Camel's rating of 1.83, indicating it is a good bank. It performs above average, but there's room for improvement. We'd like to highlight 3 key factors that took place post-valuation, and these are restructuring of the bank, licensing of 2 banks, and the release of KCB financial statements for 2016, which compare favorably with our 2016 estimates. In conclusion, based on our company analysis, fundamentals, valuation, and investment risk, we'd like to reiterate the buy recommendation with a target price of 39.15, representing a 58% upside.
It was interesting to see on your slide for forecasts that you expect a higher net interest margin for KCB in 2017 compared to 2016. Could you please run us through the thinking around that?
What we're saying is that net interest margins have been declining, but due to the interest rate capping, we expect it to be at lowest between 2016 and 2017. The difference between 2016 and 2017 is 8.8. At 2016 you have 8.8%. At 2017 it's 8.9%. We assume that to be very little. Going forward, however, we forecasted an increase. The reason for this being that the reason for the increase of net interest margin being that we have seen 3 banks in Kenya being put under receivership. This has made customers think before they place their deposits in banks. So this gives a competitive advantage for the big banks. Like I'd rather place my deposits at a big bank where you have less. I'd rather place my deposits at a big bank, which is deemed safer, than place it at a small bank, which may end up going under receivership or liquidation anytime soon. So we're expecting that KCB will be able to, being a big bank, will be able to increase its customer deposits. Now, most of the customer deposits in KCB and from these customers are demand deposits. In 2015, it amounted to 60%. In 2016, it was 65%. This means that the deposits do not earn interest. However, with increased deposits, KCB is able to increase its loan book, and the loans they give out will increase its interest income. With that, the net interest margin is gradually increasing.
The reduction in the cost of deposits going forward has been explained. We believe that the bank is going to have a better focus in growing its international business. And KCB operates in 6 countries. The interest rate controls also only affected Kenya. So as they focus to grow their business in the rest of the region, where there are no such controls, we believe that will also help in improving those margins, even though marginally, as you can see there.
KCB in 2016 was able to lend to an SME at 22%, but in 2017 it can only do that at 14%. That must have some impact on net interest margin.
Definitely, and the impact is reflected there. So if you look at 2016...
Sorry, but we have a higher net interest margin in 2017 than 2016.
Okay, how it's 0.1%. Really, it's just marginal.
Still high.
Yeah.
Because it should be, if you do the numbers, because I mean, again, think about it. So in 2016, they already had a certain base of non-interest earning deposits. So the flexibility or the advantage they will gain from gaining more deposits that are non-interest earning will not be that significant in protecting net interest margin. Because they already had a good base of non-interest earning.
Okay, so what we realized in our analysis of the historical numbers is that the interest rate capping did not hit the big banks that hard, because these banks were generally, probably one case of an SME at 22%, but if you look at their average margin on lending previously, it's been between 14.5% to 15% thereabouts. Now, the lending was capped at 14%. Previously, that means that even though they could lend to SMEs at say 22%, there are other big borrowers who actually to whom they were actually lending at below 14%. Now, what they have done is to standardize, to lend to everyone at 14%. That's why you look at the impact on the interest income from lending is very marginal.
On this slide on financial analysis, and also from your comments, you've talked about the non-funded income increasing, but as a proportion of total income, it's actually reducing. Could you explain why the outcome of this, given that we've also, I mean, from your discussion, you've also said that the capping will affect net interest income? So that's my first question.
What you're saying from this slide is that the NFIs are growing, but the net interest margin will grow, or the net interest will grow at a much faster rate than the NFIs. So that's why it shows that it's as though they're decreasing. However, the NFIs will grow with number one, the growth of KCB and PESA. This brings about the growth in the fees and commissions. Also, there's the investment in new businesses such as the KCB Capital and the Islamic banking under the KCB Sahel. Also, there's also the university basically that KCB is looking into in various strategic partnerships to grow its businesses aside from the base of lending for the interest rates to other businesses that support its core business.
Just curious, in your 2016 estimate, I understand this is because you've shown us now the post valuation. Right? Why did you forecast a decline in non-funded income?
We forecasted a decline in non-funded income due to the economic situation in South Sudan, the 84% devaluation of the currency.
On the fintech that you talked about, what impact is this going to have, and have you factored that in your forecasts?
Fintech is the next big thing, and we've factored that in the evaluation in the sense that when fintech takes center stage, we are looking at the impact that it has on unfunded income, because if I'm doing my transaction on mobile banking, there are charges that are there, and that is how the bank is now focusing on driving its revenue growth. And fintech also in the sense offers the aspect of flexibility to the customer. So it's also a way of increasing the customer base, that if I can have more customers on mobile banking and ensure that there is accessibility of services, then it will also increase the customer base. So we are looking at it from the aspect of the impact that it will have on unfunded income.
What's the difference between what they are planning to do and what they currently have?
Right now, as we speak, the head of the fintech division, that is Edidichu, is in Asia and China. Is currently having a reconnaissance of their markets in terms of fintech. How, for example, Alibaba has integrated digital payments in the economy, and also the WeChat. And also they have plans to have a partnership with Facebook for its digital payments. And these are key things, having that 77 as at right now. 77% of the transactions are at branch. And going by this, the ease with which transacting from your mobile, and also the increased dependence on mobile payments in the region generally, this is what it's going to really grow and increase its profitability, and equally reduce its cost to income to the efficiency of that.
Are other banks also investing in fintech? And to what extent has this, when do you expect the fintech to come in? So when do your evaluations start showing that it's coming? I think that's my last question.
KCB Fintech is supposed to begin operations in June 2017. They're already underway. They've already started conducting talks with Alibaba and Facebook and the Apple and the likes. 17 this year, the second quarter. They said around the second quarter, but to be precise, June 2017. So they've already engaged these people in talks, and these are people who are front runners in the IT sector. They are big partnerships. So the intention is to increase the number from 7.8 million to 20 million by the end of the year. Yes. So we expect that to have an effect on the non-funded income. So going forward, our non-funded income is expected to grow at a very rate. Just to.
And you asked what competitors are doing. We know the other days CBA Loop was launched, but now the point on strategic partnerships really comes out, because KCB has developed a strong partnership with Safaricom. And you know that Safaricom is a leading telco in the East African footprint. So the fact that they have that strategic partnership, it brings in integration, it brings in the customer base and the partnership, so they're able to leverage on their competitors. Yeah.
And maybe finally to solidify on that point on digital payments, KCB is the only bank in the region with a dedicated fintech department. So that shows how serious they are about going digital.
You seemed to be quite concerned about the rates. None of them were low, if I noted correctly. Could you talk us through that?
So in terms of terrorism and insecurity, the issue is that during the Puketoni attack, they actually mentioned that these people got into KCB, but they're not sure if they took anything or not. And just the other day, Equity Bank in Maina experienced a similar situation. So as much as we place the probability at low, we put the impact at high. And in terms of this, KCB does insurance and they repatriate funds. So that if your money reaches a certain point, you have to send the funds to the main office. And if the amount is approaching that point, you have to repatriate the funds to the main office. Then in terms of governance risk, we noted that KCB has a very diverse board. So that's why our probability is low. The governance is not an issue that will affect KCB intensely. But in terms of impact, we've seen the issue of governance in other banks in the previous time. So the impact will be high, but not as severe, but it will be high. In terms of reputational risk, we put it at medium, and this is based on the fact that we put the probability at medium and the impact at high, but not severely high, because KCB already has a reputation.
Let me just take you to the exchange rate risk.
Yes.
Given what's happening with the US economy improving, the Fed rate hikes, exchange risk. Yeah, and what is happening in the US at the moment, and the increase in the interest rates in the US, capital flight, and the risk of the exchange rate risk associated with that. Don't you think you put it well alone?
They try as much as possible to do asset liability matching, and they're saying that they really tried to raise foreign denominated capital. The other day we saw them raise 7.5 million worth of Tier 2 capital. So in terms of foreign exchange risk, KCB, and it's also diversified. It's operating within the region in 6 countries. So the impact will be very low considering it has...
So those 6 countries are suffering even worse in terms of exchange risk. You can answer that and then talk about the 20 million figure.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Let me address the exchange risk for you. I think very genuine concerns about the US economy and the possible impact on the soft currencies, particularly in this particular region. But we believe that the regulator has sufficient muscle, at least in the medium term, to show up the currency. As we've seen from time to time, CBK coming into the market to just make sure that there's not much volatility on that end. And that kind of, it might eventually weaken to a certain level, but the fact that it is not that volatile then gives the bank, puts the bank in a better place to be able to manage this risk through the means she's talked about asset liability matching. We actually looked at the net asset exposures in 2015. It was about 5 billion. This is just around 1% of their total asset base. If you compare the total foreign denominated assets and foreign denominated liabilities.
And to answer your question on whether KCB will actually achieve 20 million customers by the end of 2017, there are several market indicators to this. Number one, first, from KCB alone, the establishment of a digital department. Number two, KCB M-Pesa alone has grown 65% from 2015 to 2016, from 4.7 million customers to 7.8 million customers. So going at this rate, and equally, and also solidifying its strategic partnership with Safaricom, which has now 22 million customers, that leaves them with, on average, more or less 14 million customers who they are targeting now to hit their 20 million customers. Equally, there's been an approval within the banking industry to mobile payments. Number one, with the technology that is PesaLink that is on trial right now, pending CBK approval. 23 banks out of the give or take 40 banks in Kenya have already come on board into this system. This is equally going to build on the mobile payments platform, and that is why we have the opinion that the outlook of 20 million customers by the end of 2017 is actually achievable.
Let's go to the slide on the Monte Carlo simulation. Just take us through the thinking behind this.
So what we're trying to do here is to simulate the share price of KCB 1 year out. And we're looking at the past volatility. We determined the standard deviation is around 1.8% standard deviation per day. And then, so starting from that particular share price, we then ran 20,000 simulations and then came up with these statistics from the results of those 20,000 results. So what the result here is then a normal distribution of all the possible share prices of KCB. And so we can see it peaks somewhere in the middle, and from around 28 to 29 shillings per share, because when we do this analysis, the share price was about 24.75 shillings. So we try to compute what kind of return does it mean if the price turns out to be this much. So from there onwards, you realize that your return will be at least greater than the 19.6%, which is the cost of equity. As an investor, we think that would make a good buy. And so all the share prices from that place onwards will be within the buy recommendation region. And so the mean price will be 31.6 shillings. And our target price is 39.15. So you look at where 39.15 shillings falls within this simulation, then you realize it's right within the buy region, because our upside is 55%, but an investor with a potential upside of say 20%, you will consider this kind of a stock buy.
What was the basis of using or choosing your valuation methodology, particularly the DCF?
First, the bank is a cash-based business, so we were more comfortable estimating the free cash flows of the firm 4 years out, and probably making these assumptions about terminal growth rate. Compared to the other models, I could have picked, say, a dividend discount model, but look at the dividend policy of the firm. Management guided us that they don't intend to pay at any given time more than 50% of their earnings. Now, DDM works best for a very mature, utility type company that pays almost 100% of their earnings. And so, even though we have some dividends history and all that, we felt it would grossly undervalue the firm.
It was interesting to see the assumption is in 2020, the bank will be sitting on the lowest cost to income ratio, but also the lowest ROE.
We forecasted a decline in return on equity, not because we forecast that KCB will not be profitable, but because we say KCB will retain most of its earnings so as to expand. Yes, so with the expansion in mind, means that KCB is a good company.
And so if I'm management, if I'm retaining to expand, and the expansion is eroding my ROE, then why am I expanding?
Actually, what you're explaining from the ROE perspective is that going forward, we expect that KCB, and also in line with management's outlook, to expand on its international business. With the rate capping in Kenya and no rate capping in the other markets, this means that it's going to hold back quite a percentage of their cash, or go to debt, or to raise debt so as to grow that. And that is why you can see that our ROE is decreasing over the years due to the consolidation of the international business and the funds that are required for this.
Should the consolidation of international business not result in additional profitability and higher ROE? And you mentioned debt. Introduction of debt should impact ROE positive.
Now, that now can be 2021 going forward, because our understanding was, especially with the volatility in the East African market at the moment. You see, an example is South Sudan. South Sudan, KCB has a 62% market share. So, in our understanding, as we are doing our valuation, if KCB can replicate the same strength in these other African markets, then it will really have a turnaround in their financials. And that is something that cannot be achieved maybe overnight. It will take time because of the uncertainty, the regulatory changes across the East African market, some of the things that can happen in the future. So therefore, we were looking to the possibility that some of the returns, the cash that we'll be getting, it will be to expand and be a mover in the East African market.
Okay. Probably want to look at ROA as well, and you can see this is slightly growing. It doesn't mean that the bank is making losses from its expansion. It's just that the retention of cash probably is, even for regulatory reasons, they have to maintain a certain level of core capital. They have to maintain certain levels of liquidity, and therefore the choice of assets has also to be guided. It has to be within this kind of regulations.
Because the reason why I narrowed down on that, and I've seen the ROA, what's your payout assumption in 2020?
We estimated about 33%.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what's your capital adequacy ratios in 2020?
So for capital adequacy, we had a look at the core capital to to total risk-weighted asset, for example, you can see, okay, for up to 2016, it was just about, well, it was well above the industry average and the regulatory levels. So we estimated that the bank will be inclined to maintain that kind of, they don't want to maintain too much unnecessary reserves if they can pay out and still meet these thresholds and be comfortable in the context of the industry.
Because from that explanation, the reason why our ROE is at 15% is exactly against what you explained. Because the assumption of 33% payout means by 2020 they'll be sitting on excess capital. The ROE will be fairly below cost of equity, and therefore as an investor, I should not be investing in KCB.
Well, the idea of retaining or not is a tricky one to forecast. As you have seen, we were working with 2 shillings per share dividends this year. There's been capping, there's all this bad news about the banking sector. And you've seen other banks actually cutting down their DPS. And so KCB surprises us with 3 shillings per share. So while we are saying that kind of retention will be seen going forward, if it will be a management call. I mean, if there's too much reserves they're sitting on, they'll definitely pay out that, and that translates to a return to the investor. You will realize, however, that the payout ratio in this case, and that's probably one of the major reasons why we chose to use DCF, does not affect the valuation in this case. If you had done DDM, which we were quite uncomfortable focusing that payout ratio, because you told it's a maximum of 50%. It could be anything between 0 to 50%. And so you focusing like 4 years out, you really don't. You cannot tell clearly about that. Yeah.
Thank you, Team J, for your presentation. You may choose to sit down or to leave.